So are we supposed to start the podcast?
Ready? 1, 2, 3.
That wasn't very good.
I'm nervous.
Okay, you got to do better.
Okay. It is the Vice President of the United States. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
You did it.
I did it.
You did it. She did it.
You did it, Angie.
She just clapped on the Vice President of the United States.
It's so good to be with you guys.
It's so great to be with you.
Thank you.
We are in awe. This is such an honor and such a testament to what a great country this is, that two barely competent middle-aged women started a podcast 18 months ago.
Oh, it was only 18 months ago?
Yes. And here we are sitting with the first female Vice President of the United States.
Thank you. Thank you. It's great to be. I didn't realize it was only 18 months. What spurred this on?
A lot of petty grievances with the general public.
Right. I don't need to get them out, right?
Yes.
I got it.
Yeah.
I understand that.
Yeah. We've just had it with a lot of stuff, and we talk about it a lot.
Yeah.
And laugh a lot.
Right.
And
you have to laugh.
Yeah. And, you know, you and your coworkers kind of deal with big problems and big solutions. And our little niche of the United States, we deal with petty problems, grievances.
Yeah.
So we always ask all of our guests what they've had it with. So what have you had it with?
Oh, well, one of my big areas of focus now, which then produces what I've had it with, is the fact that women are the majority of the population in our country, and yet only 1/3 of state legislators. Half of the population basically are women, and only 1/3 of legislators are women. And so you look in state after state where they're passing these abortion bans, and the majority of the legislators doing it are men, telling women what to do with their body. And I've kind of had it with that, you know?
Yes.
Because how dare these men? Half of them clearly don't even know how women's bodies work. When seriously,
They don't.
and don't want to actually even consider that they may not be in the best interest to tell a woman what she should be doing with her life and her body.
And I think
so I kind of had it with that.
And I think it's important to point out these men are not physicians.
They're not physicians, and they're not entitled. They think they're entitled. They are not entitled to tell another human being, a person who is a thinking person, what they should do with their body.
Right. Well, we live in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And there is no state that is impacted by what happened in the previous administration and the 3 Supreme Court picks. And we have an abortion ban and a Republican supermajority in the state. And do you know what Republican supermajorities do for women? We are ranked the 51st best place in America to live for women.
Wow.
Dead last. When they get everything they want, women suffer. And ever since they banned abortion in our state, we go, every woman has to go to the OBGYN annually.
Right.
And it's uncomfortable.
Yep.
It's awkward.
Yep.
The room's cold. You got in a very unfashionable gown.
Mm-hmm.
Put your legs in the stirrups, and you just want to get it over with. And ever since they banned abortion, I sit there and I think, why on earth is the party that says that they're for limited government?
Yeah.
Why are they up in here with me?
Absolutely
Why
right.
are they up in here with me?
Absolutely right.
And I've had it.
Right. And the hypocrisy abounds. To your point, the top 10 states with the highest rates of maternal mortality, women dying in connection with childbirth in America, the top 10 states with the highest maternal mortality all have abortion bans.
Yep.
And so, to your point, these people who are pushing these bans, they claim to be in favor of women and children, but they've been virtually silent on an issue of maternal mortality, where the women of America have one of the highest rates of any wealthy nation of dying in connection with childbirth.
Right.
So the hypocrisy abounds, and had it with all of it.
Me too. I have a college-age daughter.
Yeah.
And I'm outraged
Yeah.
that she and I had more rights than my daughter has.
I know.
I look into the future and I think, I'm one of the lucky ones. I can travel to a blue state. I'm not
Right.
socioeconomically unable to do that.
Yeah.
And I think people don't have options about their own bodies.
That's right.
And their children could die. I mean, my daughter can conceivably die in Oklahoma because she doesn't have access to health care, and doctors are too scared. And so I think, how do we fix this? How does this happen? I mean, first of all, I keep going, how does this happen? But then I know how it happens. But what can we do to mobilize young people to get their rights back?
Well, so we have a 20-something-year-old daughter, and she now has fewer rights than I do and her grandmother. Her grandmother, and my mother-in-law will talk about that, about how could it be that her granddaughter has fewer rights than she has had. And so one of the things that we have to do is absolutely mobilize everyone, including young people. And, you know, I did a college tour last fall, and I'll tell you something. Gen Z, they are amazing in terms of their clarity about what's at stake in the upcoming election. Because think about it, their entire life, they've known the climate crisis.
Yep.
I would ask them, raise your hand if at any point between kindergarten and 12th grade did you have to endure an active shooter drill. Almost every hand went up, right? They know the need for smart gun safety laws. In their lifetime, during the height of their reproductive years, the highest court in our land just took this constitutional right from them to make decisions about their own body. And so one of the things that gives me a lot of hope and optimism is that younger voters understand how you can't take anything for granted. And that means you have to be active and vigilant in protecting your rights. And one of the ways to do that is to vote. And we just have to help people see the connection. Because to your point, the former president was open and unapologetic when he said he would handpick, which he did, 3 justices on the United States Supreme Court to overturn Roe. And that's exactly what they did. And he has openly talked about the fact that he is proud of what he did. And my question is always, proud that doctors could go to prison in some states for life for administering care, that young women now have fewer constitutional rights than their mothers and grandmothers, that, you know, in states where there's no exception even for rape and incest. So you're proud that you're telling a survivor of a crime of violation to their body that they don't have a right to make a decision about what happens to their body next?
You know, his pride has emboldened red state politicians where we live. And they mimic and echo those same sentiments, but they're currently in power. These are the ramifications of that election. That election did matter, and we live in it and we feel it. And it feels helpless. Women feel it. Republican women feel it.
That's right.
Independent women feel it. All women feel it. And we feel hopeless. What can a vote for Biden-Harris in the next cycle, what can people in red states get from that to get out of these draconian laws that their state governments have put into place?
So Joe Biden has been very clear from the beginning that when we send to the United States Congress a majority of Congress members who believe in a woman's right to make decisions about her own body, and they pass a law putting back in place the protections of Roe, he will sign it into law. He has also been very clear that if there were a national abortion ban, which is what a lot of these so-called leaders are pushing, including the former president, being, you know, a part of a group of people who have been pushing for that, Joe Biden has been very clear. If there were a national abortion ban that was proposed, he would veto it. So elections matter, because the vote that people have coming up in November is going to decide who will occupy the White House for the next 4 years. And the question before everyone then is, do you want a president who believes in protecting fundamental freedoms, or a president who is proud to take away freedoms and take away freedoms from women? You know, and I think it's so important on this subject to also acknowledge that most people agree you don't have to abandon your faith or deeply held beliefs to agree the government should not be telling her what to do. If she chooses, she will consult with her priest or her pastor, her rabbi, her imam, but the government should not be telling her what to do with her body. You know, it's that fundamental. You don't have to, we're not trying to convert anyone.
Right.
From their beliefs. Everyone is entitled to make their own decisions for themselves based on what they believe. Everyone should be entitled.
Yes.
Right?
All right. So let's get into more. That's a big problem.
Yeah.
And I know that your side of the ticket has big solutions.
Yes.
And so I'm excited about that. But we need to dip into some of the petty grievances that our listeners have come to love. And I have a very serious question for you, Madam Vice President. If you didn't have such a high-profile, busy job, and you and your husband, the second gentleman, were going to dinner tonight,
yes,
and you walk into a restaurant, and they seat you guys, and it's just the two of you, and they seat y'all at a four-top, and it's a booth. Do you sit on the same side of the booth, or do you sit across from each other?
We definitely do not side sit on the same side.
It makes me so happy.
Definitely not. And we have been in restaurants where that was an option, which we hopefully as politely as possible declined.
Yes. I feel like the eye contact is so much more necessary than the touching. But I didn't like my ex-husband enough to touch him. So that probably is part of the problem. That might be my bent.
I like my husband a lot, but I think if he sat down next to me at the booth, I'd be like, what are you doing? Get over there.
Well, and also it's like, then what are we going to do? Just watch everyone else in the restaurant? It's just kind of weird in a way. I mean, then it's kind of like you're almost at like a dinner theater.
Yeah.
So
and you get a crick in your neck.
Right. No, it's too much. It's too much.
Let's dip into a little workplace gossip, if you will.
Okay.
Who are your favorite coworkers in the cabinet? Who do you have the most fun with?
Well, I mean, the person that I definitely have the most fun with is the president. He's fantastic. He can be very serious, obviously, but he's also got an incredible sense of humor. And, back to your point, you have to find humor in life if you're going to actually be able to get through it and be sane.
Right.
And so there are moments where we just find the humor in a moment that otherwise some others might not be able to see it. And then, it's just important to not take yourself too seriously when everything is so serious.
Do you suffer from having a parasocial relationship with two barely competent middle-aged women? If so, please go to I'veHadItPodcast.com or to any social media site. I'm talking X, formerly Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, etc., and click the link in bio and come see us at the Hot Shit Tour. Make your parasocial relationship real at the Hot Shit Tour. Right, Pumps? Tell them.
It's so fun. We hope to see you there.
Pumps, I have to tell you about my new t-shirts that I got from Skims. They're the best. I ordered the Fits Everybody t-shirt and the Soft Smoothing Seamless t-shirt. What's so great about these t-shirts is I can wear them under a blazer. They're totally figure flattering and stretch to your body size incredibly. Also, little hack, look adorable with my pickleball skirts and dry off very quickly from my sweat. I cannot tell you how cute I look on the pickleball court.
I absolutely love everything Skims makes. I love my long sleeve t-shirt. I love my short sleeve t-shirt. The cotton jersey is so soft and cozy. Feels like pajamas, but it looks like $1 million.
Listener, I'm telling you guys, Skims products truly are worth the hype. Pumps and I cannot get enough of Skims. Shop the Skims t-shirt shop at skims.com. Now available in sizes XXS to 4X. If you haven't yet, be sure to let them know that Pumps and I sent you. After you place your order, select podcast in the survey and select our show in the drop-down menu that follows. You know, Pumps, I have not heard you complaining about shopping for outfits for the podcast lately. What's your secret?
My secret is Stitch Fix. I absolutely love that a stylist goes over what I like and sends me stylish pieces that fit my budget, and it comes right to my door.
That's right, listener. I just give my stylist my size, my style, and budget preferences. I order boxes when I want and how I want. No subscription is required. And she sends 5 just for me pieces plus outfit recommendations and pro styling tips. I keep what I love and I send back the rest. It is so easy. With Stitch Fix, I get outfits that make me look good and feel really good, and I do not have to go shopping. Style that makes you feel as good as you look. Get started today, listener, at stitchfix.com/hadit. That's stitchfix.com/hadit. One more time, it's stitchfix.com/hadit.
I have a very embarrassing story to share
tell.
about the president. So it was 2017. And so the other guy was in office. And the president was out, wasn't vice president anymore.
Right.
I'm in Italy with my family, and we're at a little cafe on the island of Capri.
Oh, nice.
And my husband and my sons are on their cell phone. I am being a good tourist, and I'm people watching.
Right. Yes.
So I'm watching all of these people walk by, and the streets are so condensed.
Right.
And I see this man walk by, and as he starts to walk by, I was like, I know him. Oh my God. And I scream at the top of my lungs, like it's Paul McCartney. And I am like, Joe Biden! Full blown psycho
that's
scream.
fantastic.
He turns around, winks at me and waves. And then my kids are like, was that him? And I was like, yes, that was him. And I've seen a lot of celebrities before, and I play it cool.
Yeah, right.
I am so cool.
Right.
I'm like, I'm not going to look at them. I'm not going to talk to them. I am cool and unaffected. When I saw Joe Biden, I mean, I totally fangirled.
Oh my God, I'm going to tell him about this, and I'm going to say, you know that lady?
Screaming
in Capri? I was just spending time with her. Yes.
She called me and said, you would not believe his megawatt smile. I'll never forget
It's
that.
a great smile.
Okay, how did it feel? So, I mean, at the end of the day, we're all people. And you're a woman that went to college, dated people, had your heart broken, fallen in love, all of the human experience that we've had.
Yeah.
And then here you are getting sworn in to be the first female vice president of the United States of America.
Yeah.
How did that feel?
Oh, it was incredible. I mean, I've been the first woman in many of my elected positions, and I carry a significant sense of responsibility and a duty to remind girls and women that they can be and do anything. And in that moment, one of the things that I knew was that there will be girls and boys, by the way, who will see something they've never seen before, and hopefully it'll reinforce for them, don't ever limit your ambitions or dreams based on other people's limited ideas of who can do what.
Right.
And that's for kids of any gender, boys or girls, right? Which is, you can do and be anything, even if you've not seen it before. Don't feel limited by the fact that, well, it's never happened before, therefore I can't.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Did you feel an added responsibility of all of the issues that were facing you as a woman? Was that something? I mean, I would think that would have to weigh heavy.
I mean, it definitely does. I am very aware of the fact that I bring to this work a life experience that gives me a very good sense of a multitude of issues that would not have been the life experience of people who previously held this position. I'm the 49th vice president. 48 vice presidents that were in office before me did not necessarily pick up on the fact that we should highlight the issue of maternal mortality.
Right.
Right?
Right.
I am sure that I'm the first vice president to, in front of the press, use the word uterus. And then I didn't stop there. I said the F word, fibroids. I'm pretty sure. I mean, we could do a fact check on that, but I'm pretty sure no other vice president has done that in public, at least.
You know, it's crazy because we think, we're in the modern era. You know, it's the modern era. But when you just said that there are 48 other presidents before you, all white males.
Yeah.
How significant and historic and amazing this is. And I'm so grateful. I have 2 sons that when they were being, you know, when I was rearing them, that they saw Obama get elected and they saw that you get elected because it's more what our country looks like.
Right.
But back to your original having more women in government.
It's so important.
It's so important. It is just so important.
And I think back to your point and question about how can everyone make a difference in the connection between that and elections? Because the reality is elected leaders, they're the ones who can propose laws and pass them that either are about an expansion of rights or a restriction of rights.
Right.
They are the ones who will often have a bouquet of microphones in front of them. And are they then using that in a way that is about projecting strength through compassion and empathy, or in thinking of it in some perverse way that to be strong means you beat people down?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Right? Who elected leaders are will influence a lot of that. And depending on your life experience, it'll be different. You know, the more that people bring a diversity of experiences to these positions, the better the decisions will be.
Yeah.
When the majority of experiences have been considered before decisions are made.
All right, we're going to play a fun game with you now. All right, it's called Had It or Hit It.
Okay.
Oh my God. Welcome to Had It or Hit It. I would hit it.
Had it.
Had it. I hit it every day, sometimes twice a day.
Okay, Had It or Hit It group text.
Hit it. But with family group texts.
Okay, right.
But here's my sad little grievance.
Okay.
And I'm going to play my little violin.
Okay.
I don't get to text anymore. I have all these things on my phone that prevent, you know, for the sake of security.
Yes.
But I used to love our family group texts. Like when we would, I mean, it was everything. Like when Wordle first came out. Did you get the word?
Yes, that's
or
a
when,
good
you know,
one.
like, right? It was just, it was so good.
Well, let me tell you what's going out in America right now with the group text, okay? It's a problem. I know y'all are busy.
Yeah.
But you might bring it up at a meeting.
Okay.
Let me tell you what's going on. There's a group text going on, okay? And it pertains to everybody in the text initially, okay? Then you have 2 rogue characters in the text,
Right.
that start having an individual conversation
For everyone to witness.
that doesn't pertain to you.
You're right.
And there's additional pressing of the text and hearts. And every time that happens, it's an alert. And every time that happens for me, it just gets up in my craw and sits there, Vice President. I mean, it is a huge problem. I know y'all are busy, all the stuff going on.
But we should take a look at
You
this.
should probably take a look because I'm not consenting to this conversation.
Right.
You know, like they are going rogue.
Yeah,
They're
no,
rogue
and it's in
actors
fact
in
a
the
source
text
of
stream.
torture.
Yes, exactly. Okay, all right. Had It or Hit It, Beyonce.
Hit it. And her new album.
Amazing.
Right?
Yes. Yes.
Definitely. I love that she's doing, like, again, how wonderful is that to really fully own and dive into your range.
Yes.
Right? And to never feel that you must be confined to other people's perspective on what your lane is.
Right.
And instead just go for it. I love that.
I love
that.
It is truly the idea of America.
Yes,
You want to be
exactly
a
right.
pop singer? Great.
Exactly
You want
right.
to do country? Roll with it.
Exactly right.
It really is.
Well, you know, one of the people that, because my mother I grew up here listening to, is Ray Charles. And Ray Charles, I think, I'll have to look at it, but I'm pretty sure the bulk of his work was country.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
He was actually, I think the bulk of his songs in terms of writing and performance was country music.
All right. Had It or Hit It, book bans.
Oh God, had it. Again, the idea that you would restrict information and you know, the same people who are doing that are some of the same people who are denying our history, are trying to kind of just whitewash it. And I think it's absolutely, horrible.
I think we have a group of political people in this country that are doing a bait and switch. They tell everybody, we're for limited government, we're for freedom.
And then they're doing
and then they roll out their policies, and it is the antithesis of those things, because banning books, banning abortion, getting all up in people's business.
That's right.
Is not limited government. And just an aside, they're not that great at the economy either. That's another podcast episode, but they're not. And that's a myth that I've had it with.
Me too. I've had it with it, because if you look at, for example, some of the work we've done.
Amazing.
We're the ones who capped the cost of insulin for seniors at $35 a month. So many of our seniors were having to make a decision about whether they could fill their prescription or put food on the table. Right. But the book bans thing also, it's about big government also making decisions that parents want to make for their own kids. Like, you're going to undermine the authority and the intelligence of parents to know what they want their children to be able to read and learn, including the diversity of thought, so they can then make their own decisions, having a sense of how different people think about the same issue.
Right. Also, everybody has a phone in their pocket too.
Right.
It's performative control.
That's exactly right.
It is totally performative.
That's a great point.
Listeners, this episode is proudly brought to you by Lola Vie, an award-winning hair care line founded by the fabulous Jennifer Aniston. Hair so iconic it needs no introduction. Pumps, I cannot tell you how much the Lola Vie shampoo and conditioner has completely changed my hair. I love these products.
I think their conditioner and shampoo might be the favorite I've ever used. They smell great and they work great.
Absolutely. My hair feels fantastic ever since I've started using the Lola Vie products. Unlock Jennifer Aniston approved hair at lolavie.com. As our loyal listeners, you'll get an exclusive 15% off your entire order when you use code HADIT15 at checkout. That's 15% off your order at lolavie.com with promo code HADIT15. Please note you can only use one promo code per order and discounts can't be combined. After you purchase, they'll ask where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. Your hair will thank you.
Okay. Had it or hit it, astrology.
Hit it. So I'm a Libra. My husband is a Libra. And it's so funny. He'll talk about the fact that it's the Libra in us where we will sit on the couch in front of the TV with the switcher for 45 minutes debating which Netflix show should we start streaming. And we weigh the pros and the cons of each. And then by the time we're done, we're ready to go to bed.
Right. Yeah. You've missed your window.
The window just shut.
I have done
because we are just sitting there debating okay, well, on the one hand, do we want to see comedy or drama? We both love, sci-fi.
Right.
Anyway, astrology.
Any good shows you've watched?
Oh, what I've been watching recently is The Morning Show.
Oh, that's so good.
It's so good.
Yes.
It's so good. I've been watching that. We've been watching, there's a variety. I love Murders in the Building.
That's a good one.
Right?
Yes, that's
Steve
great.
Martin.
Steve Martin is so funny. And that whole trio, they're just it's great chemistry between them, right?
You've got to check out this new season of Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Okay.
Very first episode, Larry David, the main character, gets arrested for handing a woman a bottle of water in line in Georgia to vote.
Good for him.
He does a great job.
So
Good for him. Can you believe that laws are being passed that make it it's illegal to give someone food and water while they're standing in line?
The family of life, Vice President.
But it's
family of limited government.
The hypocrisy.
Exactly.
What happened to love thy neighbor?
Exactly.
You see someone standing in line for hours and you want to offer them food and water, and that is against the law?
Is it healthy of a democracy to make people stand in line for hours to vote?
Well, to your point, We know that in certain jurisdictions, they have been reducing the number of polling places to deter people in those neighborhoods from standing in line for hours to vote. Because back to the point about people and with different resources, if you are a single mom with 2 jobs and they've banned early voting or they've reduced it, or they've banned drop boxes or they've reduced them, then there are all kinds of disincentives that are being built into the system to prevent her from being able to vote, even though she cares deeply and is going to be completely impacted by an election in terms of who actually gets elected, right? In terms of what policies they're pushing.
Right.
But this is another reason. Everybody's got to vote, and even in those states where they're trying to make it more difficult, that's when we have to take the challenge, which is, oh, you're not doing that to me. I see what you're up to. You're not going to silence me. You're not going to take my power from me. And that's sometimes where we have to go, which is, I see what you're up to, and I'm not going to let you take my power from me. And that's how we can improve things.
All right. Had it or hit it, people taking their shoes off on airplanes.
Oh, God, had it completely. It's
terrible.
Awful. And then if they take their shoes off and then cross their legs so that their foot is just dangling right in front of you. And especially if they're sockless.
The sockless people in an airport, it's unbelievable.
So let me tell you what happened to me.
Okay.
I'm on an international flight, asleep, and I hear this.
Oh, I know what you're going to say.
Wakes me up.
Yeah.
I get up. The woman behind me is in like a full lotus with her foot right up here, and she is clipping her toenails.
Oh, God.
I'm rather alarmed, and I'm looking around to see, does she have a collection place where she's collecting these toenails?
They're flying all over the place.
They're just on the plane.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, you might have the FAA look into that.
We'll look into that,
Yes.
too. Yeah, we'll look into that,
These are the issues that could bring out some
We need a
niche
Department
voters.
of Grievances.
We could run it.
We have a lot of federal agencies, but not that one.
We'll be the secretaries.
Exactly.
Okay, had it or hit it, Converse kicks.
Oh, Converse. I love my Chucks.
Yes.
I have a collection of Chucks. Yes, definitely.
Okay, and last one, had it or hit it, Donald Trump.
Totally had it.
Had it.
Over and over and over again. There's so much at stake in this election. You know, I was talking to a group of young leaders, and I said, we have to see what's happening right now. There's a certain perversion that has taken hold over the last several years that suggests that the measure of the strength of a leader is based on who you beat down.
Right.
Instead of what we know, which is the measure of the true strength of a leader is based on who you lift up. And that it's not a sign of weakness to have empathy. It's actually, that's the kind of, the character trait of real leaders is to have some level of concern and care about the suffering of other people, and then take it upon yourself to do something that's about lifting them up, right? And so there's so many layers to what is at stake and why I think a lot of people have had it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I tell my friends in Oklahoma that are moderate or Republican leaning, but are very disappointed about the overturning of Roe.
Yeah.
I tell them, this party has been telling us what they're going to do for a very long time.
You're right.
Roe didn't just happen in a vacuum with Trump. They started this many, many years ago and played the long game.
Yeah.
And right now, Donald Trump is telling us that he wants to be a dictator. Mm-hmm. And if we've learned one thing about this man, believe him.
Yeah.
Believe how crazy he is, because he telegraphs it.
That's exactly right.
He tells you. There's no hoodwinking.
Exactly right.
He tells you over and over again, and on Truth Social at 3 a.m. and cap locks, and then the next morning on Newsmax. I mean, it's literally nonstop.
There's no whisper. There is no dog whistle. It is like a gigantic bark.
I don't think it's hyperbolic to say this genuinely could be the last Democratic election we ever have.
You're right.
Listen to what he says. He's telling you, dictators aren't a dictator for one day, and then it's let the people decide.
No, and I'm going to tell you, as vice president, I've now met with over 150 world leaders, presidents, prime ministers, chancellors, and kings. And in the last 3 international trips I've taken, which are, going back to the end of last year through this year, world leaders have come up to me expressing their real concern about this election. And when they do, it is out of a selfish point that they're making it, because they know that whether or not America retains its democracy will have an impact on countries around the world and people around the world. And so you bring up the point of democracy, and I think it's important to see that, the nature of democracy, there's a duality to it. It has 2 sides to it. On the one hand, there's incredible strength, right? That when a democracy is intact, what it does for its people, in terms of the strength it gives its people and protects in terms of individual freedoms and rights, right? And liberties. There's an incredible strength in that, what it does for its people when it is intact. On the other hand, democracy, extraordinarily fragile.
Yeah.
It's only as strong as our willingness to fight for it. That's by nature what a democracy is. It is about the people.
Well, I tell you what, Pumps and I are scrappy and loud.
I love that. I love that.
And we are literally on the front lines, and we can see firsthand what happens in states where they get everything they want. The outcome is not good.
Yeah.
And I think, sadly, for some people, it has taken losing some rights to realize the dangers of what this is. But I think in general, the country has fatigue from political discourse. Yeah. And that's why we made the decision to discuss openly politics on our podcast, because it's something we're interested in and something that's very important to us, because we have kids that are Gen Zers, and they feel, very responsible for the environment and for rights and elections. And so you are an absolute inspiration.
Absolutely. You.
I can't believe we made it through the entire.
So I know. Glad you guys are
You're
here.
probably really busy, aren't you?
You know what? Let me just tell you, you've given me a bit of homework. I'm going to follow up on
that grievance thing.
The grievance thing is a serious matter. Yes,
it really is.
Yeah,
you talk
it's a big deal.
Talk to JB about that.
I will.
Circle back.
I cannot wait to tell him the story about Capri. I cannot wait to tell him.
I screamed at the top of my lungs like a lunatic.
Good for you.
Totally. Well, we know you're busy, which ones we're busy too.
Yes.
We're going to go sightseeing. Going to go tour the White House.
Touring the White House. We're very excited about that.
Good. And you're catching the tail end of what's happening in terms of spring and bloom. And
it was beautiful
and the cherry blossoms.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, good. I'm glad you guys are here. Thank you for your voice.
Yes.
It's so important. And we do have to have a sense of humor, and we have to remember, that there's so much good in the world and in our country, and we have to retain our sense of optimism. And I think of this as not being a fight against anything as much as a fight for, right? And we each have the power. And in this election, I think the question presented to everyone is to decide what kind of country do you want to live in? And we each have in our power the ability to actually determine the answer to that question.
I agree. I absolutely agree. Well, and this is just an aside. I thought you looked great at the State of the Union.
Fabulous.
I thought you looked best dressed, facial expressions. Nailed it, because that would be very difficult to do. And I was like, oh, she is crushing.
Crushing it.
Yes.
Thank you. It's we'll talk about side sitting, right?
Oh my God. Okay, just one quick follow-up question. Could you see his facial expressions?
No, I was just looking straight out.
Yeah.
I could, and it was worth watching.
Really?
A very small man sat next to you.
Very true.
Well, but the president did a great job, didn't he?
He was amazing.
Such a good job.
He was
Did such a good
amazing.
job.
He was so fantastic. I wanted to scream, Joe Biden, all over again. I was
love it.
And it made me feel good
Yeah.
about being an American.
Yeah,
which is
absolutely.
something I took for granted
But you know, you hit it on the head, and I think that's the point we have to keep making. We love our country.
Yes.
We love our country. Wouldn't want to live anywhere else in the world. And our country is worth fighting for.
Yes.
Like, that's it. It's worth it. It's worth it. We can't throw up our hands when it's time to roll up our sleeves. We cannot be passive observers. If we love our country, you know, it's like how we feel about our family, our kids. You fight for them.
Exactly.
The thing you love, you fight for. That's what this is.
Yes.
You know? So.
Well, we are so excited to have sat here with
I'm
you.
glad you guys are here.
Only
How
in this
fun.
country can you do something like this.
That's right.
That is
That's right.
So cool.
That's exactly
18
right.
months later.
That's exactly
and have
right.
the coolest female
Thank you.
on the planet. Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much, Madam Vice President. This
It's
has
my
been
joy.
amazing.
Jennifer and Angie, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Really.